Hello everyone, I am meteorologist James Longworth here with Dynamic Weather Agency, and today we are going to take another look at Tropical Storm Franklin, which ideally will possibly become a hurricane later on today. Um, Today it's been having a sustained wind speeds of 70 miles an hour. For it to be categorized as a Cat 1 hurricane, it needs to have sustained wind speeds of 74 miles per hour. Um, like we mentioned in our last video, Tropical Storm Franklin has already made its way over the Yucatan Peninsula, where it's now reached back into the Gulf of Mexico, where it now has access again to uh, warm ocean waters, which will help fuel this storm and allow it to strengthen. Its now centralized pressure is 987 millibars. This will still continue to drop, and the maximum wind speed is around 70 miles per hour. Like we said, for it to be a Cat 1 needs to be around 74 miles per hour. And its motion is still near about the same as it was the other day when we were taking a look at Franklin. It's still moving relatively slow at 14 miles per hour, and its direction has changed a little bit. As it went over the Yucatan Peninsula, that intense high pressure that's over on the in the southern United States, has pushed Franklin more on a westerly course. So it made a little bit of a left jog as it went over the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's go ahead and take a look at the satellite, this visible satellite imagery. The other one is alright, but this image is definitely a lot better, a lot more higher resolution, and we can see all these rain bands and storms around the centralized area of Franklin. Sorry about the glitching. This program takes a lot of computing power. Taking a look at the East Coast, we do see this line right here highlighting some of the watches and warnings issued by the National Hurricane Center. Going over to their graphic right here, we can see hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings right here, denoted by the legend down here, for the majority of the east coast of Mexico. Since this hurricane has already, since this tropical storm, I mean, has passed over the Yucatan Peninsula and has re-entered these nice warm ocean waters where it can continue to strengthen. Alright, so onto this graphic. This graphic right here is showing 2-meter temperature. This is about the closest I'm going to have for sea surface temperature on the program I'm using right now. But we can see these relatively warm ocean waters right over the Gulf right now. And the screen capture program I'm using right now is not picking up the probing tool for some reason on this program. But so I'll have to refer to the legend over here. You guys have to. But I can still see my probing tool. And as I move my mouse around, the ocean waters are really, really warm in this area, up in the mid 80s, so around 85 to 87 degrees in some areas. And that's just really warm waters helping to fuel this storm, which is why it looks so impressive. Going back to the satellite imagery, here's our storm right here, well defined, circular shape to it. We can see all these nice cloud bands wrapping around our system right here. Let's switch over to infrared. And in infrared, we can see right near where that eye wall region is, all of these very dark colors and these bright pinks. What this is indicating is really, really cool cloud tops. So these clouds are very tall, and these are for those very strong storms are able to form right near that center of the eye wall. They're able to congeal in that area like we were talking about in our last video. Alright, so one of the biggest impacts with tropical systems is storm surge. I'm going to break this tropical system up into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry guys, I'm using my mouse, so this isn't going to be the best writing, but you'll get the gist of it. The quadrant we need to look out for the most is going to be this one, quadrant 1 right here. Let me redraw my quadrants. And why is this? The tropical system is a low pressure center. So winds are going to be going around, converging towards the center of this low pressure center. Quadrant 1 is going to be the most important one to check out. We're going to pop over to this diagram first to help explain this why. So air around the low pressure system, winds, they're going to converge in a counterclockwise way around this centralized pressure center. And if you can see the winds as they come around this back side right here, they're pushing directly to the west. Even some of these ones right here where they're going to be going southwesterly. That's a little bit bad for areas along the coast right here, because you're going to have these strong, intense winds pushing these large wave caps inland towards the coast, which is going to allow this big rush of water against the east coast of Mexico, which could be 2 to 4 feet in some areas, and that's very intense, and that's going to cause lots and lots of flooding, not only with the torrential rainfall that the system is going to bring along with it. So you're going to have these strong winds pushing these waves inland, and that's what's going to inevitably cause this strong storm surge. So we'll definitely have to be looking out. So they're going to be sandbagging areas along this east coast. And we're going to go back to our diagram right here, and we're going to pull up one more diagram for you guys. Let me pull up this one. I just want to show you this diagram right here. Showing a hurricane structure. So we have all these different rain bands with these low cloud tops with some higher cloud tops near the eye wall area. Storm is rotating counterclockwise, like I said, and with these converging winds towards the center, the air has got to go somewhere. So the air is able to rise up, and you have this area of low pressure right here, and then up on the near the in the upper levels of the atmosphere, you'll have an area of actual high pressure, and this is how you get this overflow cloud shield, because it's spreading the winds outward. If we go back to our thing, we can see right here, high pressure, the winds are fanning outward, and we'll have a high pressure above here, and then what this does is allow the storm to continue to drop in pressure, which will allow the storm to then strengthen, and it's kind of this chain reaction effect that will help lower the pressure. Now, if this high pressure was to weaken on the top and we get this stacking, the storm will then thus kind of start dissipating and start dying, because it would be choking itself off on its own air within the storm. Now, although we've been giving Tropical Storm Franklin a lot of attention, we definitely have to start paying attention to another system out here. This is Invest 99L. This is our next system we're going to be watching. Right here, this is the formation outlook box right here, where they expect a possibility of 40% confidence of a system to form into a major tropical storm or hurricane. We have a couple other areas right down here that they are monitoring. And this right here is the forecast path right now for our system, Tropical Storm Franklin, and we can see all the models showing it making a landfall right in here. For some reason, it's not pulling up any city labels for right there, so I can't tell you exactly where it appears to be where the eye center will make landfall. But it should do that later on this evening to tonight. Probably will make landfall. One of the biggest impacts of the system is definitely going to be heavy rain. With all the mountains and stuff right here, you're going to have all of this tropical moisture running into the mountains, and it's going to cause this rain effect on anywhere on this east side of the mountains, where it's just going to downpour, where we'll probably definitely see rainfall amounts in these areas of 8 to 16 inches, and maybe some locally amounts around 20 inches. are forecasted in these areas. Still, Franklin will not directly affect the U.S., but we will still have to monitor some possible rain showers in areas of southern Texas, along with some rip currents and some high surf in some of the areas down there along the Texas coast. Although Franklin has moved out of the Yucatan Peninsula, some lingering showers and storms from Franklin's rain bands will continue to erupt over the Yucatan Peninsula area, resulting in some more ongoing flooding that they have already received from rain yesterday and the day before. As this is sort of uncharted territories for me, and not knowing too much about some of the geography besides some of the mountainous regions, and with all this heavy rain coming down very quickly, it was brought to my attention by a meteorologist at AccuWeather in one of his blog posts about the possibility for some mudslides, as you have the ground becoming very supersaturated very quickly. It will allow it to become very loose and be able to flow down the mountain, creating these mudslides. So it will be very interesting on reading any impacts or anything from an actual mudslide over this region. So that was definitely something that was brought to my eye and attention. I thought was very interesting that Tropical Storm Franklin could possibly bring to these areas. Tropical Storm Franklin is the sixth named storm for this year so far. So far we have not had any Atlantic hurricanes yet, but that is a possibility to change with Tropical Storm Franklin, as it is expected to become a hurricane before it makes a landfall on the East Coast. So thank you guys for tuning in to So I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. That is our update for Tropical Storm Franklin, possibility that it may become a hurricane later on today. Like I said, its impacts will be part in this northwest quadrant, this front left quadrant right here. If we just split the storm off this front left quadrant, where the possibility for the strongest amounts of storm surge, with those winds pushing the waves inland, causing that storm surge of 4 to 6 feet. The heavy rainfall that's going to be associated with this storm, as that tropical moisture makes its way inland and runs into those mountains, allowing all the moisture just to be released on that east side of the mountain, where normally the west side would have, in this case, more of a rain shadow effect with that. So we'll have to definitely monitor that. Mudslides with the heavy rain making the grounds very supersaturated on those mountaintops. The damaging winds that the storm is going to bring, with right now sustained winds of 70 miles an hour, and if it definitely reaches a Category 1, you'll have sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or greater, with maybe some locally wind gusts of around 90 miles per hour in some areas. So the system is definitely something to keep an eye on. It might become the first named hurricane in the Atlantic. So we'll continue to monitor this and stay tuned. Like I said, visit us online at www.dynamicweatheragency.com, where we offer private and commercial weather consulting and forecasting services for the Midwest and Ohio Valley. We do storm chasing and live chase feeds for local news and media agencies, so be sure to check us out in some of the chasing and weather things we do. And on our YouTube channel, we do reviews, weather updates like this system right here, Tropical Storm Franklin, that we are monitoring, and we have some weather vlogs that we do online there. So be sure to check us out. Check out some of our other videos. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe. Alright, so during the editing process of this video, our system has strengthened quite a bit. Taking a look at our tropical system Franklin right here. Still looks very defined, and even more defined now on visible satellite imagery. But as we go over here and take a look a little bit at Tropical Storm Franklin, the pressure has dropped down to 984 millibars, and now we see maximum winds of 74 miles per hour. So it is definitely likely that this system is going to be a hurricane. I haven't seen anything about anyone saying it's officially a hurricane now, but it does meet the criteria now. So we'll have to be on the lookout to see if they call this now Hurricane Franklin.